Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bulldog Report, episode 1 of Jared and Ike on the mic. And today we have a very special guest in Mr. Porowski, the principal of the Metuchen High School. Mr. Porowski, how is everything?
Doing very well. How about you folks?
Doing well?
Good.
Doing well, pretty good. Lucky to have you on today. I know you're very busy. We've been trying to work this out for a couple of weeks, but with our schedule and your schedule, obviously, it's been tough. But now we finally have you on, and we need to ask you some questions. So
I'm all in.
All right.
Ready to go.
So first up, we need to know. So what inspired you to be involved in education in the first place? Because I know, you've been around it. You've been a teacher, and now you're a principal. So what inspired you to get involved in the first place?
I'll be honest. I think it's probably the teachers that I had growing up. Sometimes because of the good reasons. I was inspired by them in particular, but I was also inspired by teachers who were not the greatest of teachers, and I thought, you know what, I can do something to make things better too. So I think back to high school. I even think back to my elementary school, and there were some teachers that really inspired me and created a positive impact for me. So those are the people who I kind of consider to be the inspiration for starting in my education journey myself.
Yeah, you mentioned elementary school just now. So obviously, I'm sure, Jared knows, but we had you for just 1 or 2 years maybe in Campbell Elementary School.
I had you.
Oh, yeah, 3 years. I'm sorry.
3 years, yeah.
So 3 years. So we had Miss Carter at first.
Right.
And then she retired and you took over as principal. How could I forget 3 years at Campbell? So it's a big change going from Campbell to the Metuchen High School, I'm sure. What's it like, and what made you, how is that transition playing out for you?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, before I was the principal over at Campbell School, I was a K-12 English supervisor. So what Miss Mangiano does now is what I did in the past. So I had the K-12 experiences there, and I enjoyed being able to do that. But then I went through some schooling and got my certification as a principal, and I was excited to take on the helm at Campbell School. Campbell was great. I loved my experiences with all of the students and the parents and teachers there. It took a while, to kind of get used to having real conversations with children of a lower age. But it was rewarding. It was a lot of fun, and I know you probably have some fond experiences from there, and I know I do as well. But then it was time for me to see if I could spread my wings a little bit more. And when Mr. Caradalla retired a couple of years ago, I threw my hat into the ring and said, "Hey, I'd be interested in stepping into a more complex role as the principal of the high school." And it is a more complex role, but the best thing about it, in all honesty, is the fact that I get to see you folks again. And everybody who asks me, well, why would you want to go to the high school? Why would you want to do that? You had a great thing at the elementary school. I keep on saying, one of the biggest gifts I have is the fact that I get to see the kids that I worked with back then, all growing up and doing the great things that I see, like you folks are doing now, and that all of our students are doing. And that is just the coolest, most exciting piece of my life.
So what is your favorite part about being principal here? I know Campbell and the high school differ a lot with age. So what is different as you move from Campbell to the high school?
I think the level of conversation and engagement with our students. I mean, a lot of the stuff there at Campbell School is all about, obviously the focus on learning, the focus on growing and enjoying our time together and learning together. But as you got into the high school, it was also about, well, what do you want to do with your life? Let's have some real conversations. Let's figure out how our student body can help to influence and make this school a better place for you.
Okay.
So, engaging in those conversations, I think, is the most valuable piece of moving into the role.
Right. And as you prepare, this school sort of prepares you for college and life. So it's definitely a lot different. How do you like that the kids are getting involved here at the school?
I love it. I think that, it's important for you to see this as this is our house. It's not not my school. It's not our teacher's school. It's the community, and who makes up the community? Our students. So with that, I find it very important and highly important for all of you to be engaged and involved throughout the time period.
Speaking of student-run activities, this has been a topic of discussion for a while now. So we just are starting to release a website. This is through the Bulldog Report, which is media club essentially, and the Bulldogs Bark, which is the school newspaper. So we are kind of combining with Ms. Cap and company, and working on a website, a joint website, which is, you know a lot about. So can you explain to us a little bit about the website? I know obviously we know, and you know a lot about it too, but just to help the students gain more knowledge about media related information and stuff like that. So,
well, I think, everything is at your fingertips, like whether you're on your phone or on your computer, whatever you're doing, like you all are much more digitally based than I think anybody has been in the past. So having access at your fingertips is very important. And I know we do it through social media, but social media doesn't always give all of the information that we want to be able to share. So the creation of this has been in the works for a year or two now. And we're right now at the precipice of greatness with starting it. And I'm excited to see the unveiling once we've kind of figured out process as far as how do you post things, how does it get checked, how does it get approvals for being put online, etc. But it's a great way for the work that the Media Club is doing, the work that other clubs are doing, and specifically the work that the Bulldog Bark is doing as well. Finding one way to have everybody locate that information is really important.
Yeah, I agree. And is this something that you have an idea that you might have enjoyed for a couple of years that you just kind of thought of, but never really got to execute?
And honestly, I can't. This is not a Porowski idea. This is a student-led idea. And so, with your predecessors, specifically Ben Selasky and Chris Vigizio, they had brought it to me, I want to say about a year and a half ago, and said, well, we want to do this. And I was like, well, I understand that, but there's a lot behind it. So we have to figure out all of the ins and outs before we can get to this point. And unfortunately, it took a little bit longer than by the time they graduated.
Yeah.
But you're the ones who are going to help bring this into fruition, and I'm looking forward to it.
Right. And speaking of that, they actually helped create a new class called Media Production. Definitely a new class combined with photography this year. We're actually both in it. Can you explain to us a little bit about how that new class is going to help really spread this media related topic to all the new students?
Well, it's an introductory course. It's a semester course with the hopes of increasing offerings in the future, but we want to start with something basic here, giving our students some real basic information as far as how to use the equipment that we have now received through a generous grant from MEF. Not only use the equipment, but then learn how to edit, learn how to use the software to then present different things, whether it's part of the Bulldog Report here, or whether it's public service announcements that we want them to create to kind of help our students and our population. The goal is to give experience, to see what kind of interest there is for students who may be seeking this out as a career.
Right.
We have a lot of families in this town who are involved in ESPN or involved in other the Netflix or doing that type of behind the scenes work, or even in front of the scenes, in front of the camera. But if we don't have anything to spark that interest or to allow you to delve into that content, then we have a missed opportunity. So that's why we established this course. We're excited.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially because I think as a business, media is on the rise, as you see media, communications, journalism, because you start to see like the importance of it start to rise as time goes on. A reliance on the media has just become so incredible, and this is how we get our news. This is how we get, whether it's sports or just current events, anything, that's really through the media. So I agree with that. And even if you just sign up for the course, I know there's some people out there that might have just said, it's a free period, or it's something that I'd rather take this than an extra tough class like a second AP or something like that. It could spark an interest, like you were saying. So that's kind of our idea. Jared and I are each interested in this as like a sort of a career to go into, whether it's just a little bit or maybe fully. But it's something that I think that students that aren't fully invested in the career itself might be interested in pursuing after the interest that's sparked via that class.
I mean, you never know what is going to spark an interest for somebody, and even participating in a course like that might spark someone's interest in creating their own podcast or doing some other type of influencing on social media. That you don't know. Again, what's interesting is that the careers that we currently have out in our world, in 10 years, we won't know what those careers will look like.
Right,
so,
right.
We have to evolve and we have to change. And this is one of the ways that we're hoping to help our students just, again, explore and find something that piques their interest.
And speaking of change, a lot of change in the digital world for Metuchen High School, a lot of changes with the building as well. I know there was a referendum last year. Can you give us a little update on what's going on?
There's a lot that's going on behind the scenes right now, and that's really where everything is happening at this point. I feel like I've become much more adept at understanding the building process itself, the design process, and in particular right now, I feel like I'm spending a lot more time becoming an interior designer. The plans with the district as well as with our architect are right now nearing completion so that we could then go out to bid
and start
contracting.
Yeah.
The hope is that contractors will hopefully be able to be selected by, I want to say, the beginning of January. At least that's what my assumption is based upon our conversation so far. I don't know when shovels will be in the ground. I can't promise that, but I know that we're coming closer and closer to that time frame. I'm looking forward to a time where we'll have a larger cafeteria and a large gym and air conditioning in the rooms.
Yeah.
And additional classrooms. These are all things that are going to be a great addition to our school. That, along with a lot more branding here in the school itself to show them who we are, I think is going to be a great self there.
Brief question, because Jared and I might be a little bit salty that this is all happening once we're out of the district. How is the school going to change while the process is going on? Obviously, we're building another gym. We're building a whole new wing to the school. So much is changing, and it's amazing. So how is the school or day-to-day life of the MHS student going to change while the process is going to be happening?
I think that we're all going to learn to be flexible.
Okay.
And I think that's the only thing that I can really even say at this point, because again, I don't know what the building schedule is going to look like. What I've been told is that when we are in the building process, I'll have morning meetings every day with the heads of construction, so I know what's going to be happening every day, what rooms we may need to block off, where we're going to need to move students for different classes, etc., because they need to work in a different area. I know that we're going to have to take some of our classrooms offline, like a couple at a time, in order to retrofit and add the air conditioning units into the rooms. But the air conditioning units won't be able to be fully operational until the entire building has the air conditioning in it. So it's going to be just going to be a process, and we're going to learn how to roll with it. I think that's what we're all going to learn.
Okay.
And as students, The other piece that I know is important is, those of you who have licenses and are parking here in the school, that might change a little bit because, we're going to have construction vehicles here. We're going to have construction materials. That's going to impact our parking for a while until we're able to be fully functional again. So again, it's the flexibility and the ability to roll with it are two learning points I think that we're all going to experience throughout this entire time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that obviously we won't be in the school, but I think it is going to take a lot of flexibility from, not just students, from teachers. Maybe it's, might be a little bit tougher to teach with this situation going on, or to come up with alternative ideas, if that makes sense, if you're a gym teacher. And I think that it's going to, first of all, for gym and basketball and anything going on in the gym, which the sports, really wrestling and basketball that go on in the gym, it's going to increase the ability for viewers to come in. We've always had like somewhat of an issue with the bleachers inside because there's not that many of them. So we always say on the stream when we're doing basketball, Jared and I, that it can get really loud because it's such a small gym, and when there's people packed in from left to right, it can get really loud with the echo and all that. But it's going to be a completely new environment. We have a name for it now, I believe, but it's not official yet.
Unofficially, it's being called the Field House.
Yeah, the field. It was a vote for a little bit. We were Mr. Cathcart and they were debating two names, but I think they landed on the Field House, which is pretty cool. They have like a big sign in there, supposedly. I don't know enough about that, but that's pretty cool. We're all excited to see what goes on in the gym, right, Jared?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so still in the referendum, and we're big sports guys, so we covered the rooms, we covered the AC, all that. But this year and the last 3 years since our freshman year have been maybe sophomore year. So sophomore, junior, and senior year for us, the class of 2024, we have had lights. 1 week of them, though. So it's 1 week every team gets to play one time under the lights. It's one of the most amazing experiences for us as players and even as a viewer for the other 4 days. And getting to call the game on Saturday nights for football has been awesome. So talk to us about the lights, because I know that's part of the referendum as well. Do you know when those might be coming? Will it be next season?
I do not know.
Okay.
Like we're still waiting for a decision as far as the order of what things will be accomplished first, second, third. Once we have a sense of the person who's running construction and that construction person has been hired, then we can kind of create our listing of like, this is the person who's going to start looking at, etc. My biggest worry and my biggest concern is making sure that our students are safe throughout the process, whether with regard to being indoors or outdoors.
Right.
But with that, my hope is that the lights and the new turf field will occur quickly, because it's something that our students use pretty regularly. I don't want to make assumptions, but I would predict that a lot of this stuff will be announced as far as how we're going to set things up once we have our in place. I'm looking forward to it, though. I do think, however, that we're still going to maintain the Week of Lights as a week of activity, because I think that camaraderie, the coming together, the student body, really enjoying the time together.
Feel like the whiteout
is really, really hopeful as far as creating a bond with our school every fall.
And we do it the week of the pep rally too. We usually have the pep rally on like the Friday of. So I guess that's a big week of just kind of bonding throughout the school. It's like early in the year too, so it's a good thing to do.
So my hope is that we'll be able to get that all accomplished so that we'll still be able to do everything in the fall. But I don't know what our time frame is. Again, we'll have to be flexible.
Yeah. Okay, we don't want to keep you on here too long because I know it's busy. The mornings in school on like a Wednesday are not exactly always easy, I'm sure, as the principal. But I gotta ask you, so this is a little bit of a throwback question.
Okay.
While we were talking, we were talking about Campbell Elementary School and how that was for you being the principal there. We remember, Jared, I'm sure you remember, those days where you may or may not have dressed up as a giant hot dog, or dyed your hair pink in a span of 2-3 years. There was one other too.
Yeah, you duct taped me to a
Duct
wall.
tape to a wall. I didn't get to do that one.
There was a green slime.
Slime. Oh my god! I don't think we were there for the slime yet. The year afterwards. So, what was the worst one? Can you come up if if it's possible for you to come up with a worst one? And I'm sure some of it you might even have forgotten, or maybe you didn't forget them because some of them might have been pretty bad.
I think they're pretty memorable, every single one.
Yeah.
And I know that was one of the questions that I got asked pretty regularly by you folks when I came here at high school. They're like, "You think you're going to play the hot dog again?" No, not necessarily. But if there was some type of motivation for us to do something like that again, I'd be down with it. But I'm not kissing a goat, and I'm not eating a bug, or those kind of crazy things. So let's just be clear. I think all of them had different aspects of it. I think what was interesting was that I really became adept to wearing a hat a lot when it was
the pink hair,
because while I had hair back then, I don't have as much now. It ended up, I kind of looked like after about a couple of weeks, I started looking like a heat miser. And I don't know if you've seen that cartoon back in the day, or like animation or whatever. Heat miser is one of those holiday characters. You know, he has like red, yellow hair, and I just kind of looked like the guy. And so I would have to wear a hat everywhere because otherwise people would be.
If I'm not mistaken, it started to become blonde, your hair, after a time.
My sister-in-law is a colorist, so it kind of worked out that she would just do that for me for this event. So she stripped my hair blonde and then dyed it pink. And over time, everything starts to fade, and I was blonde and pink and shades of red and everything else.
And a little bit of heat miser, I guess.
Oh yeah, the heat miser is in there. I'm telling you, look at a picture of that, and I could probably show you an exact replica of my hair looking exactly like the heat miser.
I'll have to look that one up, Jared, I think. Yeah, for sure. All right, great. Thank you so much for joining us. Jared, do you have anything else you might want to ask?
I'm all good.
All good? Anything else you want the people to know? Anything the viewer at home might want to know?
Just that we're off to a great year. I'm looking forward to this year as well as the year moving forward. We've got a lot of exciting things that are happening throughout this year, and obviously with the referendum and all the other work that we're doing, the sky's the limit as far as what we're going to accomplish.
Right.
So let's do this together, and let's stay positive, and I'm excited to continue on.
I hope it's going to be a great year. I know it's going to be a great year. Thanks for joining us here on the Bulldog Report for episode 1 with, again, very special guest, Mr. Porowski, Heat Miser, whatever you want to call him at home. Thank you so much for tuning in here on the Bulldog Report. We'll see you guys next time.